Southwest Virginia. How about 75 degrees for kickoff?
This booth, I think, might be close to 750 at this moment.
We are underway. Again, great to have you with us. These two schools separated by about 4 hours. Hard to believe they have never met before on the soccer pitch.
Yeah, Evan, we talked about that. It's kind of odd that this is the first ever meeting, especially considering the distance, but excited to see how this one wraps up.
Our referee today, Mark Buda. Presbyterian, as you can see, in the blue kits, and Virginia Tech in their home white kits. And a little bit of contact there. Jersey pull from Rude Manin. Both of these coaches emphasized to us the importance of the first 10-15 minutes, something they've preached from previous matches coming into today.
And it'll be really important for both squads. You know, Coach Finati explained they really got scored on 3 times in the first 15 minutes in the last 2 games. So those starts have put them on their heels a little bit, but he's really liked the way that his group responds. And similarly for Virginia Tech, 2 goals early on against Kentucky, had to battle back. But again, Brizendine really pleased with how his team fought and their confidence, even though they've gone down 2 goals.
First look at Loan Marin, junior keeper from France. Presbyterian coming in after a 3-1 loss to Queens. And as we mentioned for the Hokies, that huge 2-2 draw at then number 23, Kentucky. And there you see the head coach of the Hokies in his 16th year, Mike Brizendine.
You know, a year ago when we talked with Briz, the energy was a little bit different, but in speaking with him this week,
Wenzel able to clear that away with his foot. Presbyterian trying to connect with Hutchinson.
Speaking with him this week, there was a lot of confidence and a different, I'm not going to say aura again, a different swagger about this group that I think he feels as well. Really confident in the way that his group is playing and their ability to go forward, score, and defend as a group.
Takeaway in the midfield. Here is Hutchinson. Contact and our first whistle of the afternoon from Mark Buda. To Morney Hutchinson.
I think Hutchinson went down a little quick there. I almost feel like he could have gotten through what was a little bit of a tug. But at that distance, you're probably looking for an opportunity for a set piece right outside the box. So sell it and go down. No need to fight through. As you can see here, grabbed. He goes down quickly, but again, on the field, it looks like he might have been holding his appendix a little bit in that area. So potentially a little bit more than we could see from up here in the booth.
Opportunity for Presbyterian early. And the free kick. Headed away. This Virginia Tech team has been scoring a lot of goals as of late. Scoring multiple goals in all 3 of their matches this year. Last season, only 4 matches in which they scored multiple goals.
I think the thing that really stood out to me was last season, through their entire season, only 10 different goal scorers. Through 3 games, they already have 6 different goal scorers. So from a depth and ability standpoint for Virginia Tech going forward, that just shows a lot of confidence and ability from a lot of different players, which I think will be important as you get into the ACC stretch of play.
Cordova, the transfer from North Carolina Greensboro. A possession-oriented team. Give and go combination where Baravoni misplayed it. Blaine mentioned that both of these coaches wanted to see good starts from their teams. We chatted with Nick Finati this morning in his second year. He's brought in a lot of quality players, and as he told us, players that he really feels fit Presbyterian.
Yeah, 16 newcomers in the 2024 season, but to your point, really likes them, says they fit what PC is about. And I think early on in this season, despite the results, which I don't think tell the whole story of this season thus far, they've done a really good job in a culture and identity aspect to fight back in games, to be resilient, and he really likes that about this group.
Big ball forward. Eric Allen onside. Being pestered. And the Hokies able to create a turnover, try and flip the field. And for both of these coaches, whether it's for Presbyterian giving up a goal in the second and third minute last time out against Queens, Coach Brizendine telling us he felt like his team could have started a little bit better at Kentucky. Blaine, from a former player's perspective, what does that look like, starting matches clean?
I think it's different for every team, right? If you're a team that has, in the first 3 games, given up a goal in the first 15 minutes, well, game 4, it's can we avoid that? Can we? So it might be incremental goals. It could be, full season goals. So I think it's different for each program and based on how the ebbs and the flows of the season have gone. But I think for both of these groups, it's not to go down as early. In the first 15 minutes, that's a tough hole to climb out of. And when you go down 2 goals in the first 15, that hill gets a little bit steeper if you're Presbyterian. So I think for both groups, it's probably different. And for most teams, it's probably different. But for these 2 teams, I think it's starting on the front foot, setting the pace, being the one in control of possession and statistics. And that's probably what both of these groups are talking about.
Eric Allen is offside this time. And you can see Presbyterian making a concerted effort to build from the midfield here early.
Yeah, this isn't a team that's afraid to play. And like I said, and we'll touch on it, and Nick Finati actually talked about it, like what's on the scoreboard doesn't necessarily indicate what's happening on the field. They went down 2-0 against Queens, but it wasn't a 2-0 game at that point. They were really controlling possession. They were playing well. So this isn't a team that's afraid to put the ball down and play. And despite Virginia Tech being from the ACC, a Power 5, that's not really scaring them or changing the way that they approach this game.
What's on the line for both of these teams today? Presbyterian looking for its 2nd win of the year. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech trying to win its 3rd game through 4 matches for the first time since 2019.
And Evan, you talked about what Coach Brizendine said on the call of this is reminiscent of that 2019 team, a team that made a run deep into the tournament. Just a different feel about this group, the ability to fight back if they go down, the ability to goal score. So he's really excited about this group and their ability.
Just about 10 minutes in.
Good. Come on. Break it up.
Had quality possession here early. Opportunity for Tech into the attacking third. Space on the near side. Ball crossed in a little too high from Carter Hensley, who's switched his number this year from 29 to 13. He's got the captain's armband on.
Threw you off quite a bit earlier, saying, why is this guy wearing all these jerseys? Turns out those photos are from last year, Evan. But he is a player who, sorry to cut you off there, but a player who really has done a lot for this group. Only player to start all 17 games last year and the most minute log for this Virginia Tech team. So he is a key piece of this Virginia Tech group.
Hensley and Willie Cardonia, 2 players that go way back to their high school days and club days, co-captains on this Tech team.
Right shoulder grip. Team left. Tight. Good. Relax now. Relax. -6. More knee right behind.
And we've seen this from Virginia Tech, really a staple under Coach Brizendine. Very patient and willing to build out of the back.
Definitely patient on the ball, want to possess, but I think one area that they can be really dangerous today is when Presbyterian goes forward, can they catch them on the counterattack? Can they get in behind quickly and potentially get them over the top or in the run of play on counterattacks? And I think that's where they can exploit this Presbyterian team.
Hensley loses possession, swiped away by Sunley Harding. Connects with Hutchinson, so dangerous when he's on the ball. He's got 3 Hokie defenders in pursuit, and wisely plays it backwards for Allen. Now Cordova chips it forward, and letting that roll over the end line is the Hokie keeper, Cooper Wenzel. Not a bad start to his Tech career. 2 clean sheets. The first Hokie keeper to do that in their opening 2 matches in goal since joining the ACC.
And I think he adds a lot of confidence to what this group is trying to do. Makes big saves, a sound goalkeeper, I was about to say defender, with tons of experience, which I think goes a long way.
Get organized on that.
Mannon, the senior, reverses field. One of the seniors on this Presbyterian squad that's got a really good balance of returners and then key newcomers that are both freshmen and transfers.
And Coach talked about how much time they have to get those people involved. I mean, what did he say? They just started a couple of weeks ago, and they've got 16 newcomers to try and get into the fold. But all of these players with tons of experience, especially those transfers coming in. And you can see that with this group, that while they might be new to each other, they really do have a lot of talent when you put them together.
And Presbyterian, they didn't have their whole team together. Report day wasn't until August 7th. And a team that graduated 10 players from a year ago. It's a quick turnaround to opening your season.
Jonas, good morning. Good morning.
And some of those transfers are going to be impact from day one. We've talked about Cordova. Here's Cardonia for Tech with a nice through ball, but the offsides flag comes up. That's Hackenberg.
But you see there, you talked about the possession-oriented side for Virginia Tech, and you see it there, the ability to connect and create chances and just offsides a little bit there. Can never tell from this distance if it sounds flat, but it did sound flat when they were passing around, and it looks like that ball's been pulled from the lineup.
Yeah, good catch there from our referee. There you see there's 3 soccer balls right behind that bright orange tent at midfield.
And this will mean nothing to you, Evan, but having worked and currently working for a youth soccer league, this is not the most updated Nike ball, so it's interesting that they warmed up with this year's Nike ball but are not playing with it, which is completely irrelevant, as a soccer ball is a soccer ball. But
I think that's very interesting.
It probably means nothing to you, but having debagged 150 of these recently, I think it stands out to me.
Rabaravoni. Allen. Cordova to Griffith, and a challenge that warrants a whistle. That's a foul against Presbyterian.
And I think so far this referee has done a good job to let play continue, but has called clear and obvious fouls and has situated himself within the game, not overextending or stepping into the run of play.
Take another look.
And obviously not intentional there, going for the ball, trying to get a pass off, but takes out Marcono in the action.
Ethan Hackenberg, so creative. Far side of the pitch. And going the other way. Sometimes the first 15 minutes can bring a lot of fireworks. Not as much here.
This is a midfield battle for sure, but both teams trying to get their feet under them, establishing themselves in possession. And when you have 2 teams that want to play and want to be creative on the ground, except for that instance where it went a little bit direct, but that's what you're going to have, is teams trying to get into a flow, into a rhythm. But as this game wears on, holes will open up, opportunities will open up, and you can expect some fireworks.
And to go back to a previous point, again, the last time out for Presbyterian, goals conceded in the second and third minute. On the road, Presbyterian, ACC team, through the first 15 minutes, they've been very composed. Cardonia, Servang. Played into the box, dangerous ball, still dangerous. Left-footed strike deflected. Appeared to be deflected, but looks like it will be a goal kick.
And a great job there from Loan Marin, coming out, making himself known, getting a hand on that. Probably a little bit advantageous to take a shot from that distance, but early on in the game to test a goalkeeper and get a shot off is not a bad idea from Virginia Tech.
Marin in his first year at Presbyterian, 15 starts a year ago at Southwest Mississippi. Played his freshman year at Northwest College in Wyoming. And Presbyterian has a lot of depth in its keeper's room.
And that's one thing Nick Finati talked about on our call today was he has a lot of options to choose from, and they have a really good, strong keeper room. But Loan Marin has stepped up and taken that starting role.
Hokies unbeaten at home here early in the 2024 season. Ironically enough, with today being the third home match, all three opponents they've never played before. North Florida, UNC Asheville, and today Presbyterian.
I think of the three, the UNC Asheville and Presbyterian are the ones that probably jump off the page as being a little bit more shocking. University of North Florida, that makes sense considering the distance and probably the difficulty to get to a close airport. But I think UNC Asheville and Presbyterian being so close in distance, it's shocking that you don't see more matchups between these two groups.
That's a sneaky drive, Blacksburg to Asheville. I thought that'd be like an hour and a half. It's actually like 3.5.
But they share a state line.
They do.
They share a state line.
Waze says the quickest way, actually, to go from Blacksburg to Asheville is to go through Tennessee, then cut through.
I'm going to start calling you MapQuest for information like that.
Tech building. Nice ball knocked away. And there's the defensive side for Presbyterian. Name we'll talk a lot about Damian McGregor Wickham, the senior from Toronto.
Really good defensive effort by him there, sliding in, getting that ball out of bounds, not allowing it to be any more dangerous than it was.
Nice combination play, some space. Very composed Hokie squad as they build. Marcano, what a diving stop in goal from Loan Marin.
And Ian Marcano turns that ball. There's so much space in the midfield. None of those holding midfielders were stepping to him. Typically from that distance against a Division I goalkeeper, that's advantageous to take a shot from that distance. But Marcano rips it, and to your point, great save from Loan Marin.
Marcano, of course, the hero 3 nights ago in Lexington with an 88th minute equalizer. Does result in the first corner of the night. Good looking one, that just headed wide and a goal kick.
And those are those corner kicks that don't come off with quite enough pace, so going up to head it, it kind of dies down a little bit as it hits the head and bounce out of bounds there with not a lot of pace on the end of it. So a little bit more driven will create a more dangerous opportunity for Virginia Tech.
Presbyterian on the road today looking for the first result against a Power 4 team in 7 years to the day. Great hustle from the Tech back line to prevent a Blue Hose opportunity. That's Noe Uwimana.
And a name that we haven't really said a lot today, but that is a player returning for his sophomore season who was electric last year, ACC all-freshman team, and you can expect him to do much of that, not only tonight, but for the remainder of the season.
And 7 years ago to the day, Presbyterian went to Duke, drew the Blue Devils back in September of 2017, and that was the last year that Presbyterian reached the NCAA tournament. Hokies create a turnover, and it's Cardonia patient. Coach Mike Brizendine raved about Cardonia in the draw against Kentucky. Once again, Presbyterian in the midfield, getting it to Hutchinson, sprinting, trying to create space. He's got possession, and contact in the box as Rabaravoni went down, but play on, says Mark Buda.
And I thought that was a good call by the referee there. It was all ball. The way he came off of the fall was just a little bit excessive and dramatic, but really good defensive effort there. And that was the first time that I think we've really seen the speed and danger of DeMorney Hutchinson and his ability to turn defenders and create dangerous opportunities for Presbyterian.
Ethan Hackenberg has scored twice in the last two matches. Great ball in, and that's just headed wide of the post. Nearly a 1-0 lead for Tech, and it's Hackenberg who was looking for Malik Chow.
And I'm gonna tell you, if this goes in, I think you see this on SportsCenter. Hackenberg with a great bending ball in, and Chow just misses with that diving header. Really dangerous opportunity there from Virginia Tech. Difficult for Loan Marin to make a decision on whether to come out and get that ball in that perfect sweet spot, and just missed it.
Well, the Hokies have added a ton of pieces to create a lot of depth offensively. And Malik Chow, someone who comes from France, he's getting better and better by the day. He's one of the many options for Mike Brizendine's squad from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, 14 newcomers, including Chow, like you mentioned. 3 games played, 1 game started up to this point, 2 games started now, obviously.
Just over 20 minutes in this opening half. Great to have you with us. Virginia Tech trying to stay unbeaten today. Presbyterian looking for a signature win in their first of the season since beating Erskine in the opener. In which a lot of goals were scored in that one,
You
Blaine.
say, yeah, I don't know if beating was the word. They 9 goals is pretty impressive and got a lot of people on the score sheet in the stat column for Presbyterian in that game.
Cardonia able to keep that in. No look pass from the touchline. Hackenberg, good concentration. Chow trying to locate. And Tech collected, keeps possession.
Virginia Tech having their way a little bit in possession right now. Presbyterian comfortable to sit and allow them to pass around. But as we've seen, those combination plays are allowing Virginia Tech to create some dangerous opportunities in behind. So Virginia Tech, if they can do that and continue to be creative in those 1-2 touch passing, I think they have an opportunity to get behind this Presbyterian line.
Gardner. Hackenberg trying to turn the corner. Excellent defense from Eric Allen of Presbyterian to force the takeaway. But the pressure from Tech, possession back. Uwimana with the right foot gives it a go, but right into the hands of Loan Marin.
And again, from that distance against a good goalkeeper, you almost have to hit a ball perfectly, and one driven away straight onto a goalkeeper, that's an easy save from that distance.
And apologies, that was Johannes. But it really feels like, Blaine, the last couple of minutes, Virginia Tech finding a rhythm, especially offensively.
And I think, like I said, Presbyterian's doing a good job to stifle it. They're comfortable letting the ball be moved in front of them as long as it's not getting it behind them. But eventually I think that this levee's going to break a little bit, and you're going to see Virginia Tech have more and more opportunities, and it's kind of already starting with the way that they're moving the ball right now.
Ball still dangerous. Hackenberg trying to weave his way through traffic, and that's cleared.
And with all that said, I really like this Presbyterian defense. I think they've done a good job. They're really organized. They move well. And they're not afraid to put their body out there to stop an offensive attack. They've played really well up to this point.
A pair of subs. Morgan Dance will check in. Freshman from England, as well as Alex Walker, the sophomore from Wilmington, who's given extended minutes so far this season. Of course, new substitution rules in men's soccer this year. Only get 6 different times to sub throughout a match.
I think that was an opportune time. A lot of the action has been in the midfield. Those Presbyterian midfielders have been moving around quite a bit. To get some fresh legs in there to help stifle this Virginia Tech offense is important at this kind of midway point, just over midway in this first half.
Second Hokie corner of the first half. They've been knocking on the door, looking for the lead. Hensley the corner, bending in. Booted away, out of harm's way by Presbyterian.
And to your point, just out of harm's way, good clearance out, not allowing Virginia Tech any second, third chances to be dangerous there.
Blaine, like a former D1 keeper like yourself, when you're Presbyterian here having to defend consistently 5 to 10 minutes, so many opportunities for Virginia Tech, what does that do to a back line and a keeper?
Certainly wears you down, probably increases a little bit of frustration, but like I said, I think Presbyterian feels comfortable doing this. As long as Virginia Tech's not getting in behind them, which they haven't really up to this point, minus 1 or 2 opportunities, I think they're okay playing the defensive role and allowing Marne to come out and clean up any of the mess. Now, I'd also imagine they'd like to have a little bit more offensive production, as you can't win without scoring, but so far they look comfortable defending and are okay with the way that this game is going.
And Virginia Tech with great pressure. Could this turn into an opportunity? Marcano plays it forward, turning and shooting. A Hokie in the box, turned away.
I thought we were about to see Kentucky 2.0 with that turn from Marcano, almost the same exact kind of style and body shape there.
Hutchinson, nice move, and he is down in a little bit of pain. Presbyterian play on, ball chip forward, nobody home, but all attention right now on DeMorney Hutchinson. The senior who is just so fun to watch. Guy who led the Big South with 7 goals last year, 6 of them in conference play. And his coach, Nick Finati, such great praise for him. And great to see him onto his feet.
Yeah, and if you're Nick Finati, in those moments, you kind of hold your breath and hope that it's just shaking it off a little bit here. Looks to cut inside and just gets caught there. And this angle will probably show it a little bit better, and I'm not sure if he landed awkward or if it caught him in a weird spot, but to your point, really good that he's up on his feet. Positive for Presbyterian.
The clock does stop. And Tech trying to get a little bit of a head start there.
I'm not sure Presbyterian was on the field quite yet.
I feel like it's one of those things, right? You know, you got to try it.
It's gamesmanship, but not when the whistle doesn't blow. Call back to action.
Great to see Hutchinson there, looking like he's waiting to be subbed back in. Because he truly is a game changer when he's on the pitch.
And you don't get tabbed as a preseason offensive player of the year because you're not effective up top. He is a player, like you said, we saw it earlier, his ability to turn, go at pace, and get in behind defenses is pretty unmatched in the Big South Conference.
Marcos Esco. You take a look at the accolades for Demorny Hutchinson. And, you know, his journey, Blaine's so interesting, from the JUCO ranks, then to Gardner-Webb, where he didn't play, and now really finding a home here at Presbyterian.
But I think we talked about today with Nick Finati about how the transfer portal has changed the way you recruit and also the active recruiting of your roster. But I think Hutchinson is a perfect example of that, of landing in a few maybe wrong spots and finding a home where you can be really successful at a place like Presbyterian. So while his journey has been cumbersome in terms of places that he's landed, I feel like he's found a home in Presbyterian and clearly has been successful.
Capola, transfer from St. Louis. Tech doing a nice job of reversing field. They attack in the midfield here.
And up to this point, they've done a really good job in possession, as you noted. But I'd be interested to hear from Coach Brizendine what his thoughts are on how to kind of connect in that final third and take all of this possession and create a goal, because it looks like they're getting stalled almost at the top of that 18 and are unable to create chances beyond that defensive line from Presbyterian.
Now Trey Gardner, nearly 60 starts in his collegiate career before transferring in. Long throw-in. Marcano unable to get a touch, but Tech keeps possession and comfortable working that back to the midfield stripe. Hokies unable to play it opposite side. They have won more balls in the air, and there's a great takeaway. Chance for Tech, long strike just high over the crossbar. Why not give it a go? And it's Hensley, who's coming off of one of the best matches of his career against Kentucky.
And a really good opportunity from Virginia Tech from distance, but Carter Hensley has so much space. I think he can keep dribbling, and I don't think Virginia Tech is realizing how much space, especially in that middle of the field, that Presbyterian is giving them. Really great strike from distance. But I think that they can push a little bit further into that final third and connect from there instead of having to shoot from distance.
You know, Carter Hensley mentioned one of two Hokies that have the captain armband this year. He's sharing it with Willie Cardonia. An amazing story that we learned yesterday, that the former Gatorade Player of the Year in North Carolina almost chose to not play college soccer. In the wintertime, he was just going to hang it up. As there's a ball slotted through, opportunity for Tech, still dangerous, shot knocked away from the Presbyterian back line. Marin came off his line, and his defense stands tall in a huge moment.
And we just talked about it. Can Virginia Tech get in behind, create chances through quick passes? Marin comes off his line, and who other than McGregor Wickham standing on the goal line to clear that one out. Great defensive effort from Presbyterian, but for Virginia Tech, that's where I think they can be dangerous and create chances and score goals.
Towards the back post. Maybe the story of this first half, Presbyterian's defense.
They've done a great job. They've stepped up when they've needed to. They're comfortable with balls in front of them.
That cross just a little high.
And they've stifled this Virginia Tech offense. Tons of chances, but nothing to show for it.
A Tech offense that is averaging 2.5 goals per game, right about that mark. Just over 10 minutes until halftime. The unbeaten Hokies and Presbyterian. Cardonia serving. Captain to captain. Now to the near side, Coppola. Right-footed strike, that's just high. And that's the talented Marcano. He wanted that one.
And I thought he was going to get that one. Again, really quick passing, combination plays, and then Marcano with a bending ball to the back post, just over the post, but really good job offensively from Virginia Tech again with the combination play. That is how they are creating dangerous opportunities so far.
Marcano, someone who's been a U.S. Youth National Team call-up in his youth career. What a luxury for Tech to have so many key transfers step up offensively, but then a freshman to deliver the way he has in the first 2 weeks of the season.
And I think that's almost the perfect balance if you're a coach. Bring in people with experience and then have a couple of fresh faces who can jump on the field and who can really quickly get into the flow of Division I soccer.
Relax. Let's keep it. Let's keep it.
Morgan Dance had some space and then loses possession. Coppola. Cardonia has been active in the attacking third, looking for that final connecting piece. Through the legs, right-footed shot. Well done. Once again, standing tall, the junior from Lyon, France, Loan Marin.
Loan Marin in good position, moves his body with the ball, and all he has to do is cleanly hit that down and grab it. But again, I feel like a broken record almost at this point. Virginia Tech with the quick passing, creating opportunities. I think we're inching closer to one of these potentially hitting the back of the net.
It's a foot race. Space, shot wide, just outside the box. And it's the very talented Marcos Esco, who had such a promising freshman year, who was knocking on the door.
And he's a player that's exciting, much like his counterpart on the other side of the field in Presbyterian and Devorney Hutchinson. He is a player who can take the ball, turn the game on a dime. He has a ton of speed and talent with his back to goal and being able to turn defenders, and you saw it there. Small little space, and he can rip one from distance.
There was contact there. But it's been a very clean first half. Blaine, what has Virginia Tech been able to do to break down parts of this Presbyterian defense and get some quality looks?
I think it's the speed of play right now. Their ability to pass really quickly is pulling Presbyterian out of position. Even with Presbyterian playing a little bit conservative defensively, you can't move quick enough for how quickly Virginia Tech is passing. And I think they're doing a good job. I just think that they need to look up and see how much space they have before shooting from distance or passing, because I think they could take some one-on-one and they could continue to play some balls before shooting it.
Coaches say it, right? The final 10 minutes of a half can be the difference. And that's what we're in before the break. Contact there as C.J. Coppola out of Des Moines, Iowa was receiving that pass. The Hokies quick to play on. Looking for an early lead, through ball, and a wonderful tackle there in the box.
And really good job from Noe Uemana putting that ball on the ground. When you're running on defense, you're expecting that to be in the air. He puts that on the ground, makes it difficult to defend because you're running towards the ball, and it turns into a corner kick because of that.
Carter Hensley. The corner kick in, bending, headed, still dangerous, and that's through. Hokies strike first, and it's Trey Gardner. who puts Virginia Tech in front 1-0. The senior from Richmond and the transfer from Davidson.
Evan, we talked about it. Eventually the levee's going to break. There have been so many chances, and this is just kind of a half chance off of an odd bounce. And Gardner just gets up there and gets his head on it and puts it in the back of the net. Really good team effort there, but that all comes from a Noe Uemata forced corner, and Gardner puts that one away.
How about that for the defender? Not many times he gets to be forward and have a chance like that in his college career. He'll remember that one.
The senior started 58 games at Davidson, 3 career goals there. So he's no stranger to scoring, but to your point, coming out of the back and be able to get ahead on that and put Virginia Tech up 1-0.
Oh, Coach Brizendine told us, you would have thought he's been with us for a few years. The way that he has seamlessly fit in. He's an anchor, he's a calming force, and he has Tech in front late in the first half.
But that's a coach's dream in this day and age, to have transfers in and out all of the time with programs, to have players who really fit the culture perfectly and can step in and step into roles that have been left behind. It takes that pressure off of the coach to get the group to do that.
Oliver Roach, the sophomore, scored 4 goals a year ago, coming off the bench today. That did roll over the touchline.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think with that Gardner goal, they're now up to 7 different players who have scored, which inches them closer to the 10 that they had just a year ago.
An incredible feat. And when we asked Coach Brizendine about the depth, he was nodding along his head as we were bringing it up to him, just said that is one of the deepest parts of our team.
Having players who can come off the bench and score, players who are in different positions outside of the midfield and the forward position, that makes your team so much more dangerous. And when you go down a goal or you're battling in games, the confidence rises because you know anyone can score at any time.
And was that goal just truly about keeping it dangerous as long as possible?
When you think about it, not every goal has to be this perfectly designed play. Half chances are chances. So being able to just head the ball down, keep it in the box, make it difficult to defend, because that's either a goalkeeper coming out to grab it or another defensive head. So yeah, it's just a half chance created by opportunities there. And that's all you need when you're trying to put a ball in the back of the net.
That's headed over the touchline. Bryce Burdett, the transfer from UAB, one of those key offseason additions for Presbyterian. And it was really unique hearing Coach Finati talk about a couple of transfers he brought in that he really enjoyed recruiting and watching at the youth level. Didn't get him initially, then got him the second time around out of the portal.
And I think that that's the nature of not only college soccer, but college sports at this day and age is you may not get them on the first go, you may not even get them on the second go, but keeping those relationships alive when a player says, I want to find a place that fits me culturally and as a student athlete. And I think that you hear about that from Finati when we were talking to him earlier about how enjoyable that's been to keep those relationships through the years.
Gardner, who just scored, the throw-in. Hokies out shooting Presbyterian 12-1. And that'll stay in play. Perez, who just checked in off the bench, trying to split 2 defenders. He does, keeps possession. Good pass. And there's a push just in the corner of the box. And our referee, Mark Buda, says a foul against Virginia Tech. And in addition, a card shown to CJ Coppola.
And Evan, we're not field level or not even on the headsets of the referees, but I wonder if it was almost a flop that went into grabbing the ball in the field and potentially that was a warning of no need to flop out here and kind of just keeping control of the game.
Coppola wearing a face mask after an injury sustained against Kentucky on Monday. Great to see him back on the pitch. Some great athletes have worn
I was
face
going to say, aren't
masks.
those kind of cool? Aren't those kind of like a badge of honor, so to speak?
The main one I remember, I think LeBron James wore that at one point with the Heat, I want to say. But I'm sure there have been some great soccer players, too, who've worn it, right?
I don't think it's as fun as a soccer player when you have to head the ball. In basketball, it's a little bit cooler because it's all with your hands. So, yeah, I think it's a badge of honor. And you could do the Bane quotes.
Floki Stevenson tangled up far corner. Freshman from Iceland. He's played some key minutes here in his rookie campaign. Steven Cordova, the transfer from UNC Greensboro, he got to an Elite Eight with the Spartans. He's going to take this free kick. This could be huge for Presbyterian before the half. Right into the hands of Wenzel. No problem for the transfer.
Easy grab there. And I don't actually hate the opportunity there from Cordova. I thought it was a good bending ball, probably a little bit too deep, and an easy save for Wenzel.
And a deflection off the foot of Manning. Hokies can counter, have some numbers for it. It'll start with Roach. That pass behind the freshman Perez. Gene Fro, through ball, too far out of reach, and good communication with Wenzel scooping it up.
I think one area similar to what we talked about earlier with Virginia Tech and counterattacking is the same thing on the flip side. Presbyterian there with a quick counterattack, and Noah Uimana was actually standing up at half field. So for Virginia Tech, don't get too comfortable being in possession most of the game and having a lot of opportunities, because you see there from Presbyterian the ability to quickly counter and create opportunities going forward.
Two minutes until halftime. Roach, fresh, off the bench. A long whistle there from Mark Buda as Esco knocked down. Morgan Dance showed a yellow card, so 2 bookings in the last 5 minutes.
Good to see Esco up and walking.
Someone who made such an immediate spark last year, Blaine. Someone who not afraid to take on multiple defenders.
You saw a lot of, like you said, sparks last year, and there you can see catches him on the heel a little bit there. Clear foul. But yeah, to your point, last year he was one of those freshmen who just really jumped off the page when you saw him. His athleticism, his size, his ability with his back turned to goal to turn and quickly get shots off. And we saw it a little bit earlier as well. He's a dangerous player when he's on.
Free kick into the box. Dangerous. Hokies trying to get a good look. And a throw in coming with about 90 seconds left. Gardner, his 3rd throw in of the opening half, trying to block out the sun. Roach got a touch, but it is well high in a goal kick.
Not a bad effort there trying to keep it alive, obviously. Bit of a moon ball, but that's one where you get a half chance and it skies into the air and you can have another Gardner header. So trying to keep that alive is not a bad opportunity.
Potentially one more opportunity for Presbyterian before halftime. Got a lot coming up. Let's see if Tech can grab possession. Wonderfully played to Capola with the right foot. Connects with Perez. Into the box, headed and denied. Marin with one hand says no.
Between the defense and Marin up to this point, both have had phenomenal games. This is a player who has made tremendous saves up to this point, and that one's included there. Really great to extend, grab that out of the air, and not allow that to be any more dangerous than it was.
And that'll send us to halftime. A little bit of everything in that first half. Trey Gardner, the headline so far.
Go direct. Can they create through the midfield instead of just sitting back and defending?
And two names we didn't talk a lot about in that first half. Aragi Kalala, the junior from Pittsburgh, and then someone wearing the captain armband, Carson Griffith, in his 5th year, who has scored in 2 of 3 matches this year. Very quiet in the first 45.
And I think we heard from Coach when going into halftime is he was pleased with the first half of that first half. They really felt like they were in the game. They were doing what they wanted to do, and then the tides kind of shifted and Virginia Tech took over a little bit possession-wise. So can they reestablish themselves and create opportunities for those names that you just mentioned?
Not a bad first half for Cooper Wenzel either. Limited action, but delivered when his number was called. And he joins a great list of Virginia Tech goalkeepers in the last decade plus. You think about Ben Lundgaard, Ben Martino, a couple that come to mind. A lot of great history and tradition under Mike Brizendine.
I think one name that you didn't mention, and that might be a little bit more than 10 years ago, is Kyle Renfro, who's now back on staff, which I think speaks to the relationships from Coach Mike Brizendine, but also the passion and buy-in from alumni at Virginia Tech, especially at the goalkeeper position.
Coach Brizendine telling us he was so happy about the hirings he had on his staff in the offseason to bring a guy like Kyle Renfro back. He was coaching at Duke. Loved coaching him as a player, now he gets to work alongside him.
And coming from Duke, that's a whole different level of experience as well. It's another great program in the ACC. So for Renfro to come back with that experience and to bring it to Virginia Tech, his alma mater, that speaks volumes to what Brizendine is bringing into his staff. And you mentioned another hiring at the assistant coach position that he is excited about.
Far side of the field, it's Allen Cordova, who had a couple of quality touches in the first half. Players finding that little bit of shade on the far side of the pitch. McGregor Wickham is offside.
But Evan, despite the offside call there, I want to see more of that from Presbyterian. Stretch Virginia Tech defensively. If everything's happening in the midfield and you don't go direct every once in a while, it's easy to defend. This keeps them on their toes. It forces them to track back. It spreads them out defensively, and you create half chances and full chances from that. So I think for Presbyterian, while you do lose possession in situations like that, can you be a little bit more direct at certain opportunities?
Well, McGregor Wickham was a key part of that defense last year for Presbyterian. But he played the left side last year. Coach Venati was telling us he was playing out of position. This year more comfortable now on the right side. And he's found the back of the net this year. There's a collision just outside the box. Virginia Tech looking for a whistle that they're not going to get. That's Ethan Hackenberg involved.
And the center referee put the whistle pretty quickly up to his lips, but then didn't call it. So I don't know if there's communication going from AR to center saying it's not a call, but again, establishing himself as the referee, letting the tone of the game kind of be decided here and whether he calls it or doesn't.
Presbyterian trying to connect in the final third, unable to do so. Tech on the counter. Perez in the midfield, gives it away. Through ball for Hutchinson. There's Wenzel, way off his line, able to clear that away.
Really good decision making there from Wenzel to make the choice to go and clear that out. But I think we're seeing moments from Presbyterian where they can go forward and create. And you see a little bit of a replay here. I don't know, Evan, I don't know. That's one that I think one referee might call it one way, a different center might call it another way. I could see the argument if you're Virginia Tech for that being completely off the ball and unnecessary.
You see an even 4 fouls on each side, and despite 2 yellow cards in the first half, it was a pretty clean first 45 minutes.
I don't even remember 8 fouls being called, so I think that speaks to the control that this center referee has had, but also the ability to let these two teams play.
Uemana with space, bending ball right into the hands of Loan Marin, who has been tested today and delivered time in and time again.
Yeah, and Brizendine talked about wanting to create more difficult chances for their goalkeeper, but I think Marin's made a couple of pretty outstanding saves.
Good luck, and once again, Marin, a rocket off the right foot of Roach.
And that's another opportunity for Virginia Tech where if you just look up and see how much space you have going forward, could Roach have continued to take that on the dribble instead of shooting on an out-of-position Marin in that situation?
No look, back heel flick. Hackenberg, dangerous, just wide. The senior from Pittsburgh fired up.
Great combination play out of the midfield, a no-look pass, a little heel pass there from Alex Perez, a quick cross, and Hackenberg just taking this on his own. Calling for a corner, but I don't know if that one was touched at all. I think this was a pretty clean shot from him, but really good opportunity from Virginia Tech in possession and their passing combinations.
And for this Tech team that outshot Presbyterian 15-1 in the first half, only one goal to show for it, as there's a foul. That's against Virginia Tech. Presbyterian gets it back. Blaine, what was the biggest reason why there weren't multiple goals in that first half?
I think a bit unlucky, obviously, finishes just being a little, we would talk about that diving header that we reviewed in the highlights from the first half, but I think a lot of it comes down to spatial awareness and looking up and seeing what space you have. There's been so many opportunities where a quick shot could have been 2 or 3 more dribbles and potentially slipped the ball through or even just taking it a little bit closer. So I think it's just awareness of where they are on the field and where they can be a little bit more dangerous if they just keep the ball. And I don't normally say that. I usually say get rid of the ball and play quickly. So that speaks to the space that Presbyterian is allowing them to have.
Hackenberg. Uemana, all ACC freshman team selection a year ago, has shown the ability to get it done both defensively, in the midfield, and even finding the back of the net.
And this is a player who was placed in defense last year out of necessity, but he has that ability to go forward. He's super dangerous, can take players one-on-one, great services from the outside, and he's a key asset because he plays defense well, but he becomes a forward and a midfield in the way that he moves forward.
Hutchinson loses possession. I thought something that was so fascinating in our conversation with Coach Brizendine this week, he talked about how when you have so much depth offensively, Blaine, it provides a lot of hope, and meaning that when you put so much pressure on your defense to go out and get clean sheets, there's not that big exhale when a goal goes in. You have that belief, the hope that you can score multiple goals a match.
We talk a lot about their confidence as a group, and I'm going to say it, the aura and the swagger that this group has, though, but I think that it's to that point. There's a confidence in the ability for players to score, and it's not just 1 or 2 players, it's anybody at any given time. And when you feel that confidence in the final third of the field, that defensive third, there is an alleviation of pressure. So I think that that speaks to that, and their ability, you saw it against Kentucky, go down 2 goals and you don't flinch, and you tie it up and you leave Kentucky with a top 25 result. So I think that speaks to the difference in this group and the culture that's being created.
This is a quick turnaround for Tech playing Monday night. They traveled back to Blacksburg on Tuesday. They've got numbers for it here. Hackenberg with space. Excellent hustle. McGregor Wickham able to keep that from rolling over the touchline. Just about 10 minutes into the second half. If you're just joining us, Hokies leading 1-0 thanks to Trey Gardner's first goal of the season. A header on a corner kick. And for Presbyterian, Blaine, we're going to need to start saying the names of Griffith, Hutchinson, McGregor, Wickham a lot more often here down the stretch.
I think these first 10 minutes, Presbyterian has gotten back to what they were doing in the first part of that first half. The possession, keeping control of the ball when they have it, feeling a little bit more comfortable on the ball instead of just playing defense. I think they need to do that a little bit more and be more intentional with it.
There's a push from behind. Jonas Sunley Hardig, who leads Presbyterian in assists. Hensley connects in the midfield. Roach turns, through ball not there. Griffith, the connector in the midfield. And Hutchinson unable to come away with a touch.
And a lot of the onus right now is on Hutchinson offensively. You see him making the runs, and he doesn't really have a supporting cast, and you see a lot of white jerseys around him. So as Presbyterian does push forward, can they get more bodies forward to assist Hutchinson when he does get the ball or if a ball slips through?
Give and go, Uwimana. Johannes to Stevenson and to the freshman from Las Vegas, Perez. Space for Esco. Dangerous when he's on the ball. Loses possession. And every time Tech gives away possession, they're in quick pursuit to immediately get it right back.
And that's making it difficult for Presbyterian to keep the possession that we've been talking about. When you're so quickly defended after a turnover, it's very hard to get in a rhythm, and you're constantly on your heels.
Virginia Tech has scored at least 2 goals in every match this year. Presbyterian's defense has kept them in the match. Hackenberg. Uwimana. Perez. To the opposite side. Cross in. A good shield. Opportunity for Noe Uwimana, the sophomore. Roach, a year ago, one of the best scoring options for this Tech team. And a Hokie throw-in.
And once again, that Presbyterian defense making it hard for Virginia Tech, stifling all of these opportunities, stepping into these lanes of passing.
Marty, in front of the ball.
Gardner has been strong on the throw-ins. Opportunity for Tech yet again. Whistle and a foul against Virginia Tech.
A little bit of a shove in the back there from Esco. Wasn't egregious, wasn't malicious, but good call from the referee to see that all eyes go up and he keeps his eyes on the players.
Ball flicked forward for Hutchinson, the preseason Offensive Player of the Year in the Big South. Great pass through the legs. And that's something that, when we talked with head coach Nick Finati earlier today, he, paraphrasing, was talking about the willingness that Hutchinson has to put a team on his back and absorb the pressure the way he just did there.
And we kind of talked about that a couple of minutes ago of just right now the onus is on him. Every time you look up, he's kind of the only one up there. And when you have 3-4 defenders around you, that's an impossible ask as a forward. So when Presbyterian does go forward, they've got to support him. But that speaks a lot to him and his talent, that his team and his teammates and coaches can trust him the way that they do.
Clean challenge in the midfield. Hutchinson onside. Gets knocked down, and that will draw a whistle from Mark Buda, our referee. In the first half, got knocked down, was able to get back up, check back in. But Blaine, in a 1-0 match like this, all it takes is one opportunity to find the equalizer.
And I was thinking about the gamesmanship aspect of that, and I also wonder what's being said on the field when you see these smiles from players and what are the interactions. That's a foul that if you're a defender, you're saying that's a flop. If you're a forward in Hutchinson who is smart and savvy and quick, you take that foul every time. You're right outside the box. No need to fight and try and keep yourself up. Go ahead and go into that, even if it's a little bit soft in a foul. A flop.
Presbyterian a chance, low line drive, and it's Gardner who has the lone goal, preventing one on the defensive side.
And a really dangerous ball there. It doesn't look like it, but Gardner's going back towards his goal trying to clear a bouncing ball, and you see there one wrong touch, and that's an own goal. So a really good dangerous chance, but no Presbyterian players in the vicinity.
First corner of the night, and it's Steven Cordova. Coach Fanati said he helps us make the game go. The junior from Statesville, North Carolina, bends it in. Still dangerous, and an excellent clearance out of harm's way for now. And Cordova's pushed from behind. Easy whistle.
And right now, this is probably the most opportunities that Presbyterian has kind of strung together. This is the most, I think, we've talked or seen them in this attacking third for Virginia Tech. So keep pushing that envelope, keep putting the foot on the gas pedal, trying to create chances. Because even if a half chance, we saw it in the first half of Virginia Tech, a half chance is all you need. And with all of these fouls so close to the box in the attacking third, opportunities will come from that.
Free kick. And Tech will take possession back. Jonas Sunley-Hardig was the one who played that free kick, and I mentioned the freshman who's leading this team in assists. We haven't said his name enough. Playing a little out of position this year, but his work rate's so good, that's why he's on the pitch.
Yeah, he's one of those holding midfielders, the kind of workhorses in the middle of the field, keeps things in front of him, and you can see, despite his youthness, I'm not even sure if that's a word, but despite how young he is for this team, you could see a lot of seniority in the way that he plays. And I think that comes from experience playing over in Norway at the highest level.
I think it's just youth, but I tell you what, Blaine, if we wanted to invent a word on our broadcast today, I'll check with our team behind the scenes. I'm personally okay with that.
All right, youthness it is. Youthness it is. You know, Evan, sometimes you just start talking and the words come out and you're saying a word and then as it's already left your mouth, you realize that's actually not a word at all, in fact.
That happens more times than you think as a broadcaster. You say it and you kind of do that shoulder lean on both sides and you're kind of leaning back thinking, is that right? Is that right?
Is it irregardless? Is that what it is?
Always a good time with Blaine Fink. Hope you are enjoying as well, as we have about 25 minutes left in the first of two matches at Thompson Field tonight. Coming up at 7:30, battle of unbeaten teams from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Liberty at 6-0 and 21st ranked Virginia Tech. Nearly a costly mistake. Numbers forward. Burdett, McGregor Wickham with the left foot, connects with Hutchinson. One of the best opportunities of the match for Presbyterian. He's unable to cut it back. And a near golden opportunity prevented once again by Tech.
And crazy to think that started from what seemed like clear communication, but a bit of a mix-up there in the back, coming out of the back in a counterattack. Really good job there from Hutchinson. You could see him hold his line, and McGregor Wickham slips that through. It looked like a little bit of a cramp pulling up there in the box, but probably one of the most dangerous opportunities thus far for Presbyterian.
I mean, think about the last two matches for Presbyterian. 3-1 loss to Queens their last time, but they gave up 2 goals in the second and third minute. Since then, they've really started to play, I think a lot more relaxed might be the word, as they start to really come together. This group that didn't connect until August 7th as one unit together.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier about the scoreboard not necessarily telling the whole story, and I think that Queens result is probably the best example of this. But this is a team that you can tell can play. They can combine, they can create chances, they can string passes together. I think it's that final third as a group and being a little bit more dangerous defensively, especially against opponents like Virginia Tech, where it is a lot of defense.
Track back, track.
Uemana, give and go. McGregor Wickham, really strong there defensively. That's going to stay in.
No, Sandro, relax. Go, relax.
What can Virginia Tech do, Blaine, that final connecting pass? How do they try and get to that second, third goal number of the day?
I don't think they've had as many chances, or it doesn't feel like it, and I think recency bias probably has a little bit to do with that, but they haven't really been as much in the final third as they were to finish the first half, and I think Presbyterian's done a good job going forward to help stifle that, but right now they need to stretch Presbyterian a little bit. It's a lot of possession. Can once or twice you throw one over the top to stretch them out and see how they respond and potentially get a runner going in, but I think they're comfortable right now playing the way they are. Maybe not Coach Brizendine, but I think the group itself on the field, they look comfortable in possession. Now it's just, can you go a little bit more forward and be a little bit more dangerous?
15 shots in the first half for Virginia Tech, only 2 in the second half. You just saw the subs as Marcano, the hero on Monday, and Chow coming off the bench.
And those are two players that can really change the game with their creativity and their speed and their possession in the midfield.
Drop in, Sandro.
Combination of Yelich and Allen defending in the corner forced the takeaway.
Hey, let's go, Blue, let's go, come on. Jonas, drop a little bit, just shake.
And Evan, I'm not a fan of moral victories, and there's a lot of time left in this, but I think if this result holds, if you're Presbyterian, this is a huge confidence booster. And again, moral victories, who knows how everyone feels about this, but to hold a Power 4 opponent to 1 goal at this point and to play the way that they did and really step up and step into themselves in this game, I think that this is something to grow from. And I think it'll mean a lot when they get into conference play.
Tech looking for another deflected ball, and who's that last touched off of? It's off of Presbyterian, a Virginia Tech corner on the way.
Good job there from the UAB transfer, Bryce Burdett, to track Virginia Tech forward into the box, get a body in front of it, and clear that out. This is a good, dangerous ball on the ground, tough to defend when you're running backwards. But again, Burdett gets his foot in there, and Chow can't get on the end of it.
Can Tech find the back of the net again today? The answer, no. A huge clearance right in front of goal, and wouldn't you know, it's the Big South preseason Offensive Player of the Year, Hutchinson, keeping one out of the net.
You took the words right out of my mouth. A player who you're used to seeing in the final third of the field, standing on the goal line, and a great clearance there. Second time tonight where we've seen a ball get really close and cleared out by Presbyterian.
You think about 2 key moments in this match. Gardner, the defender, the lone goal, his first of the season for Tech, and then Hutchinson preventing a goal on the other end.
Soccer, you know? Soccer.
How can you not love this sport?
I don't know. I played it for so long, I don't know.
Play on in the midfield. There was clear contact and then a very late whistle from our referee, Mark Buda.
Jonas, are you good? Jonas, that's good.
Carter Hensley made the NCAA tournament as a freshman in 2021. The last time Tech's been there. Talked with him yesterday on the Hokie Sports Insider podcast, and you could tell he, Willie Cardona, and other members of that senior class, they would love to finish their careers getting this program back there, winning a couple matches, and achieving their ultimate goals.
And I think the way that this group is playing and the confidence that they have in their abilities and a confident coach in Coach Mike Brizendine, I think this is a team that can do it. And for those groups who have kind of, I won't say suffered, but kind of gone through some up and down years in the last few years, this would be a nice reward for them to kind of reach back closer to the mountaintop.
We talked about it at halftime. You're going to have plenty of opportunities for signature and resume building wins in the ACC.
I think that's what makes the ACC so fun, is that the weight of each game carries so much, right? In and week out, no matter who you play, you're playing a top 50, top 25, top 10, top 5, whatever it may be. So those games carry a lot of weight. And it gives you opportunities, like you said, for key victories and resume boosters.
Tech will be tested early in conference play. Looking ahead, they've got Syracuse and SMU to open conference play.
And a Syracuse team that's coming off of a...
Great ball to Hutchinson. One-on-one, he slots it through. The equalizer for Presbyterian. Seven goals last year, and the 23 Big South newcomer of the year delivers.
And we talked about him in the open for a reason. How quickly the game can change. Virginia Tech on their heel. A slipped ball into a very fast and dangerous DeMorney Hutchinson, and he is going to make you pay every single time. A great finish, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he just slots it away.
And what a time for his first goal of the season.
And Evan, I know that the camera angle was going to the group of players celebrating in the corner, but I immediately look at Nick Finati on the sideline, and he is fist pumping, screaming just like he's one of those players. And I think from a coach perspective, that's awesome to see, and very proud of his group. And like I said, this is one of those games that will define this group going forward.
How about oh my heavens, a backflip
into something else. I don't know what that part of the celebration was, but athletic, talented, fast, and dangerous in finishing.
What a journey for Hutchinson, from the JUCO ranks, where in 21 he scored 30 goals, to Gardner Webb, now year number 2 at Presbyterian. It's been 7 years to the day since Presbyterian has had a result against a Power 4 team, and they're in position with under 20 minutes. And there you see Hutchinson. I mean, this guy just finds different ways to score no matter where he is.
But you see why, because he's so dangerous and he can get in behind. And if he's doing that at every program, he's a dangerous player. And it's gut check time for Virginia Tech. How do you respond? You've been down 2 goals, now you're tied again. This will say a lot about this Virginia Tech team, as I think that just said a lot about the Presbyterian team.
It's a veteran-led Tech group. Go back 3 days ago, they found themselves down 2-0 late in the first half, found a way to equalize and get a result. And every match this year has been a different story for this Tech team. This is going to be a different one here today if they're going to pull out a victory.
But we just talked about ACC play and conference play and how important those matches are, and this is what helps you in those games.
Griffith, Hutchinson for the lead, off the post, and we stay tied at 1. Unbelievable. Inches from a 2-1 Blue Hose lead.
Cooper Wenzel, great job there getting a hand on that, because that was about a fraction of an inch away from this being 2-1.
That hits off the crossbar. And all of a sudden, as this Tech team has had more chances, more possession, momentum with the road team late in the second half.
Virginia Tech caught sleeping a little bit, comfortable with the way that the game was going, not doing the things that they were doing in the first half to be dangerous. And the Blue Hose just waited, bided their time, and they've got 3 opportunities back to back to back, one of which was almost the second goal for Hutchinson.
Well, here's someone that can start something. Hensley up ahead. Hackenberg unable to get a touch. Yelich on the defense.
Relax, get her shape. Get her shape. Get her shape. Get her shape. Lola, tuck in.
You hear Coach Finati yelling about his team's shape.
Clear, they're behind Lola.
He has been very vocal.
Jonas, too high. Jonas, look behind you. Jonas, easy. There you come. There you come.
I think you mentioned his energy a moment ago. He's like the 12th man on the field right now.
It was fun to watch. You know, everybody's eyes go towards the group of players celebrating, but I'm watching him because when talking with him earlier, it was just interesting, and I really enjoyed the conversation we had. So to see him celebrate in that moment, just as a viewer and a lover of the game, was really enjoyable.
Almost a 2-1 lead.
And again, Cooper Wenzel just a little bit of a touch there. But again, Hutchinson slips in behind. I mean, truly just a touch on that one to get it to hit the bar. But you just see how dangerous he can be as a player, and that's why we highlighted him in the open, because he is someone who can very quickly change the tides in a game.
For Presbyterian and Coach Finati, he's been on the job at 18 months. He's graduated at least 10 players in each of his first 2 seasons. You think about this year, ETSU, the loss to Queens, what this would mean for his program.
But he talks a lot about he likes this group. He likes the way that they play. He's confident. They're bought into what they're doing. The results don't always tell the story. And I think that this is an indicator of what he's doing culture-wise with this program.
And meanwhile, for Virginia Tech, as there's a takeaway in the midfield, Hensley able to swipe it right back. What must the Hokies do to flip the momentum and find something here late in the second half play?
Well, they've got to put pressure on Presbyterian. Like I said, they kind of got comfortable playing possession, letting the game kind of go the way that it was when it was 1-0. Now you're playing in a tie and you're trying to get another goal. You've got to go forward. You've got to pressure them and do the things you were doing earlier on.
Big left-footed strike, knocked down, and a throw in coming. What a stop from Marin in goal.
But I think those are the opportunities we talk about, because there's a second chance that bounces out and you have a forward standing there who could potentially put that away. So you have to pressure Presbyterian, because right now their confidence is sky high, and Virginia Tech looks like they're trying to scrape back into this game, which is crazy to say when you look at the shots and the statistics difference.
Play on. Hutchinson. Presbyterian turns it over. Hackenberg stops on a dime, gets knocked down, and a foul. Worth mentioning before that challenge, and I'll wait a moment because you see that yellow card in the right hand of Mark Buda. That's our 3rd yellow card of the night. Hackenberg has been one of the best offensive options for Virginia Tech here in the second half.
And he's a player that moves around a lot. He's very active in the way that he moves in his ball placement, and you can see he can go one-on-one with people. And this right here, clear and obvious.
Yellow card issued to Eric Allen, the redshirt sophomore from Columbia, Maryland. Virginia Tech unbeaten. Win on the road, 23rd ranked Kentucky on Monday. Looking for win number 3 on the year, but work to be done. Here's the free kick. Dangerous in the box. Does someone get a look? The answer, no. Worth mentioning, the yellow card was switched to Stephen Cordova, not Eric Allen. And there's a sub as Alex Walker, the sophomore, checks back in. Saw some minutes in the first half. 12 starts a year ago. First ever meeting between Virginia Tech and Presbyterian. It comes down to the final 14 minutes.
And I think for both sides in this final 14, how do you respond? For Presbyterian, you're on a high. Can you keep the game in front of you? Can you continue to put pressure on Virginia Tech's defense? And for Virginia Tech, it's to have some speed and intensity going forward, but not to panic.
Through ball, Hutchinson's off. And he does not agree. Hands out wide. Hokies have used a couple of substitutions. And worth mentioning that Andy Solons, who had that big ball outside of the box about 5 minutes ago, didn't play last match. He's back. And here's a look for Tech. And cleared away, well off his line. Coming out of goal was Marin. Dangerous moments. And now the counter. McGregor Wickham gets by 2 defenders. Has space, loses possession. What a chaotic last 30 seconds.
I don't want to speak because I'm afraid we might be going right back to where we just came from. But this Presbyterian team, since that goal, looks almost completely different. The confidence level, the swagger that they're playing with a little bit right now, they are in this game and they feel that way and it looks that way in the way that they're playing. For Virginia Tech, they seem a little bit all over the place. So can they reestablish themselves here a little bit?
Marin in goal has been sensational for Presbyterian today.
He's really decisive. When he makes a decision, he goes with it, and most of the time, at least tonight, it has been the correct choice, and that was another instance where he had to go and he made the decision, and it was a great save.
Build up from the attacking third, left-footed shot well wide. That was the freshman Alex Perez. And a substitution. Gabe Carvalho, the freshman. In for Eric Allen, who's logged some serious minutes on the back line for the Blue Hose.
I can imagine that's a back line that is probably tired after today's match, but they've weathered the storm. They've done a great job defensively to really limit Virginia Tech's chances.
"12 minutes to play. There is no extra time in the regular season of men's or women's college soccer. So this is it. Will Presbyterian pick up one of the biggest results in recent memory, or can Tech come back? Here's a great start. Chow, little too big of a touch. And a huge clearance to midfield. And that did curl over the touchline. Did not completely stay in.
An unfortunate situation as Bryce Burdett was clearing that ball. He almost kind of goes dead-legged, and as he's falling, catches Noe Uimana on his way down. And now Uimana's on the ground.
Uimana, don't want to see that. One of the more fun players in the ACC. Here's another look.
And a great step from Burdett. Like I said, I think he cramps mid-kick and unintentionally rolls into Uimana. Ooh, catches him right on the ankle. One of those bang-bang plays, not intentional, not malicious, but two players kind of end up on the ground from it.
Floki Stevenson. A lot of numbers forward here for Virginia Tech.
Check your shoulder.
Well, combination play on the far side of the pitch. Nearly a takeaway. Hensley calms everything down, finds his co-captain Cardona. Stevenson playing forward. Hutchinson fighting for possession. Tech gets it back, and that's a big challenge and an easy yellow card. Fourth of the night. That's going to go against Alex Walker, who just checked in under 10 minutes ago.
And a lot of these tackles are coming from misplaced balls, missed pass balls from Virginia Tech. Just a missed touch here, not as much power on the pass there, and it's creating these chances where Presbyterian's coming in defensively and catching the heels and the ankles of some of these Virginia Tech players.
And here comes Virginia Tech's athletic trainer Seth Crawford in his 3rd season to check on Noe Uimana.
Yeah, and you could tell he was trying to battle through that, but based on the video replay of that roll-up, I think he has a little bit more than just a shake it off kind of ankle injury at the moment.
Got off to a great start this year, scoring on that free kick against North Florida. And just to see him walking off under his own power, so good to see. Harrison Krieg checks in. And what a cool story that is, playing on the club team and then finding his way onto the varsity team.
And those are some of the players you put the stats down, you put the storylines, and you wonder, will we ever mention this player? So good for him. Got a couple of minutes this year in a few games, and he'll be needed in this last 10-ish minutes for Virginia Tech in place of a very good Noe Uimana.
If you're just tuning in, Tech had a 1-0 lead at halftime. Morney Hutchinson, the equalizer in the second half. Now 10 minutes and change. Free kick. Still dangerous to the far side of the post, rolls over the end line. Hokies pleading their case for a corner. They're going to get it.
And these are the opportunities we talk about, just half chances, serving the ball in, keeping the ball in the box, because all you need is a toe, a heel, a body part to put it in the back of the net.
Gardner in the 38th minute scored off a corner kick. Can Tech do it again here? That's off of Presbyterian. And you can hear the frustration of Nick Finati. Presbyterian disagrees.
I couldn't quite hear Finati because I was watching players scream and run towards the referee, but he stands his ground and says, corner kick it is.
Bending ball, headed just high, second chance, yes! It's the freshman, Floki Stevenson, who puts Virginia Tech in front 2-1.
I think that number goes up to 8 goal scorers through the first 4 games. Another Virginia Tech player stepping up and another defender for Virginia Tech. All you need is a half chance. This ball bounces off the crossbar, lands right in front of Floki Stevenson. And really, all he has to do here is just bury it. And with a bunch of people in front of you, that is so hard for Loan Marin to save that. Really well done from Floki Stevenson to take that half chance and put it away.
What a moment. On Monday, in the 87th minute, it was another freshman, Ian Marcano, the equalizer, against a top 25 team in Lexington. And in the 81st minute, it's a freshman defender who reclaims the lead for Virginia Tech.
2 defenders scoring in today's game tells you a lot about what Coach Brizendine talks about with his group. At any given moment, you have goal scorers and people who can put you ahead. And I think that just shows it.
And not just 2 defenders, both opportunities created on keeping a ball alive on a corner kick.
But that's all you need. That's soccer. You don't have to have these beautiful combination plays or these beautiful bending balls and upper 90 shots. Sometimes it's just a ball bounced and I put my body on it.
Chow on the ball, one of those many goal scorers for Tech. Slots it through. And the offside flag goes up. Blaine, we touched on this in the first half, but one of the highlights in the headlines from our conversation with Coach Mike Brizendine, he said with this year's team and so many goal scorers, it brings hope that when you give up a goal, you're going to find a way to score again and punch back. And Tech's done that now in their last 2 matches.
Yeah, and we talked about how do you not panic, but have some intentionality in the way that you go forward. And you kind of saw it in those last few minutes before that second goal. Virginia Tech was really putting the foot on the gas and trying to put pressure on Presbyterian's defense, and a goal came of it. Now, on the flip side for Presbyterian, can you respond again? Now in a little bit smaller window of time with just under 8 minutes. But good soccer was being played up before that goal, so can they continue to do that and try and find another one?
And how about this? At Thompson Field, under Mike Brizendine in his 16 years at the helm, when scoring multiple goals, 43 wins, just 4 losses, and 2 ties. About 7 minutes away from the 44th win in that stat.
I think both Virginia Tech men's and women's programs will tell you they love playing here at Thompson Field. The fans, the interaction, the sun setting over the Hokie Stone, and a lot of success happens at home, and they take that very seriously about defending their home turf.
And for those just joining us, after Presbyterian had the equalizer, Hutchinson almost mere inches away from putting the Blue Hose up 2-1. There you see our scoring summary.
And 2 goals in 10 minutes, and like you said, Morney Hutchinson almost had that second goal, and this would be a completely different conversation if Virginia Tech was tying it up with a second goal, but a great response from them, and now an opportunity for Presbyterian to potentially bring it even once more.
Not many corners today. Presbyterian, a chance late, and a great opportunity from Yelich just wide of the post for the equalizer. A fantastic look.
And Evan, I almost have the same exact reaction as he does on the field, almost that how did that miss, because not only did that barely miss the post, but he's standing wide open. There is no one near him. If he just takes that down, it's 1v1 with the goalkeeper. That's a lot harder and easier said than done from up here, but oh my gosh, we were almost back tied even.
Regardless of how the next 5 minutes and change goes, Presbyterian is going to be a player in the Big South this year.
You're very much seeing the culture and the mentality of this group and the togetherness and their want and desire to play good soccer, which I think we're seeing not only in the response to the first goal, but now in the response to the second goal.
Gene Fro. Throw in coming. Tempo for Walker on the quick throw in. It's Gene Fro, the freshman, who has it taken away. Marcano to midfield.
Get behind them. Get behind them.
McGregor Wickham, one of the leaders, just trying to give his team a chance. Gene Fro unable to make a play, as there's Stevenson, the hero right now, right in the corner, and punches that away. Presbyterian has been very resilient. Outshot by 10 plus in the first half. Hutchinson trying to give his team a few last chances. Here's the throw. Still in harm's way and clear.
Good job there from the Virginia Tech defense. We talk about half chances. That ball bounces right in the 6. They don't give Presbyterian the opportunity to get a foot on that.
Harry! Hold, don't need to jump. Don't need to jump. They switched on. Come on. They switched on. Come on, center back. Carson, drop. Alex, drop.
Cooper Wenzel trying to pick up his 3rd win of his Tech career. The clock will stop. Mark Buda, our referee. And not 100% where this is going. He's going to have a conversation with the Tech transfer keeper, Cooper Wenzel, who's pleading his case. Blaine Fink, former D1 goalkeeper. What's this conversation?
I'd love to know. We got to start getting these players mic'd up. No, I think it's at this point. You know, Cooper Wenzel's doing the gamesmanship, the little bit of seniority, using his head, trying to knock some seconds off the clock. And the referee's just saying, keep it moving. This game is not quite over.
Hutchinson hovering at that midfield stripe, just waiting for a chance. Even though this is a non-conference match on the 5th of September, it has had some serious intensity to it.
We talked about it in the open about this is going to be a battle, and I don't think this has been anything short of that. Two teams that have really come into their own at this part of the season early on. I think we've seen a lot of pieces of their identity in this game and who they are and how they respond to adversity and being down. I'm impressed by both sides. Apologies.
No, apologies to cut you off. Gene Fro was pushed, and this is going to draw a yellow card. That's going to go against Trey Gardner. Blaine, when you've got a free kick here, 2:43 is an eternity of time for Presbyterian.
But it'll tick away quite fast, which is kind of that funny little piece is you still have 3 minutes, but you're going to look up and you're going to have 3 seconds. So making the most of these opportunities, because as we saw, Cooper Wenzel, he'll walk to get a ball. He won't rush to put the ball on the ground if it gets in his hands. So you have to imagine that every every moment that the ball's not at your foot is seconds wasted.
Here's the free kick, late for Presbyterian. Unable to find Marin, and there's a foul against the Blue Hose.
But that's what we were kind of talking about is now the clock is ticking, time is getting wasted, and that 2 minutes and 43 seconds is now ticking away to 2 minutes and 23 seconds. So again, every wasted opportunity is wasted time for Presbyterian at this point.
No fouls. No fouls. No fouls. No fouls. No fouls. Good. Now we go.
There's a takeaway at midfield and maybe a smart foul, even though that will warrant a card more than likely.
Come on. Come on.
It's going to go against Cardona, but there were numbers for Presbyterian.
You took the words out of my mouth. Very smart professional foul. One of those that you know we're getting beat, and this is an opportunity that could become dangerous. Pull him down, take the card, get back defensively, and try and close out this game.
2 minutes left for Presbyterian to pick up what would truly be a massive result on the road, needing the equalizer. It's the transfer. Cordova, great ball in, but just a little too high, and Wenzel cleans it up. Chow. Capola to Krieg, who's done a nice job in place of Uemana here in the last 10 minutes.
I think for Virginia Tech in those moments, can you be smart? All you need to do is possess. For Krieg, he doesn't have to go forward. Fortunate not to lose possession there, but right now it's all about just keeping the ball, not forcing anything for no reason.
Wenzel with the right foot to midfield. Who's that off of? Hokies throwing. Cardona, big throw to the far corner. And Capola lets that roll over the touchline. And Presbyterian gets the takeaway. Can they build off of it? The Blue Hose have one last opportunity left. Tech trying to prevent that from happening. Far corner, that's the freshman Perez, knocked down. That ball's still in. And then, no, that went over the touchline. The clock's still churning.
There's a lot of time wasted trying to decide what to do here. It looks like it was a penalty there on Virginia Tech, but a lot of time ticked off with two teams just standing there kind of yelling about the situation instead of grabbing the ball and trying to get it forward.
Low on Marin, big ball coming from the Presbyterian keeper. Possession at midfield. Hutchinson unable to get a touch with 20 seconds. Booted towards Marin. One final chance for the Blue Hose. Hokies clear it. Maybe one more goal on the way. Chow! Huge save, but it won't matter. Presbyterian gave it everything they had, but in the end, the Hokies stay unbeaten thanks to two